Hi, it's Sandra here from Creating in Spain, and I am making yet another polymer stamp making video. And this is just going to go over a few of the very basic things that I do, the way that I make my stamps, a few hints and tips. But generally it's just to say, look, if you are interested in making polymer stamps and you have questions about the process, look for my complete list on polymer stamp making. Go through them by date and you will see the process that I went through from the time when I first started doing this to now, which is probably a couple of years. And during that time, the process has evolved for me. I can pretty much make any stamp that I want to make. I don't do photographic type stamps because that's not my interest, but I make all sorts of stamps from, character type stamps, clip art type stamps, through to text stamps, which are pretty fine. Right, the first thing to get out of the way, because I literally want to get it out of the way from my desk, is this. I hope you can see it. It is a UV lamp designed for curing nail polish. And this piece here is the base that actually slots in the bottom. I've taken it out because I want to show you the lamps. But the other thing is, when you have this base, eventually, if you're using it for this, it's probably going to get a bit mucky. Keep it clean, because the more this reflects, the better your lamp works, okay? And in order to clean it, I actually use this stuff. This comes from our local Mercadona, but it's basically just a window cleaner fluid. And for some reason, this stuff seems to cut through the stickiness quite nicely. So I tend to use that for cleaning things up, including my surfaces and anything else that gets the gel onto it. Now, I wanted to mention the lamps inside here. You probably won't have seen this type of lamp. I don't know if they use them in nail salons these days, but this is not the lamp that this comes with. Yes, I used the standard UV lamps for a long time. And in fact, it was only, I think it was January this year, that I swapped over to these. And these are different in that they are LED UV lamps. They are more expensive, but my husband did say that they should last a lot longer. And I was finding that my UV lamps lasted probably about 3 months before the life kind of started going out of them somewhat. So these slot in exactly the same way as the other ones, but this is what they look like. And I can read the bit which is on the back. UV LED, it says BH002815. I have no idea what that means. The other reference numbers on it, M365-12, 365 plus 405 NM, and it's 9 watts. Okay, and I should have a box here that it came in so you can see the box. And they were purchased online. I think it was probably Amazon. So that is the box, just in case you want to actually get the same thing. Just show you as much of the container as I possibly can. Okay. So that's the lamp that I'm using. Now you notice when I put these in here, I am facing them outwards away from the inside of the lamp. And I found that by facing them outwards to the outside, the light is all reflected, and I got much, much better results. The next thing, which is most important of everything, is the gel that I use. This stuff comes from a company called Collop. They're international, so no matter where you are, you can probably get it somehow or other. It may take some persistence. However, this is my current bottle, and you'll notice it's a shampoo bottle. And what I tend to do is when I first open a new bottle, I'll use it directly from the bottle, and that's it. But after I've used a little bit of it, I will then decant it into this shampoo bottle. And I find this is incredibly useful to do because it's easier to pour. The original bottle has a pouring spout, but it's really designed for much larger quantities, dispensing larger quantities than I do in one time. I tend to make stamps either one at a time or 2 or 3 at a time because I've only got a nail lamp. I've not got an enormous, sheet of UV lamps. So I decant it into this bottle because it has a flip top, and I can literally pour it as I wish out of that. And then to store it, when it gets, because this liquid is very thick indeed. It's like a very thick, very sticky shampoo. Definitely don't mistake this for shampoo. You'd never get your hair clean again. It'd be horrendous. But I store this under my desk, and most of the time I just store it upright. When it gets really low, what I do is I turn it upside down and I store it in a cap in this dish underneath my desk like so. And that means it's always ready for me to use. I don't have to wait for 5 or 10 minutes for the stuff to get from the bottom to the top when I want to pour it. Next up, how do I print my negatives? This is cheap tracing paper, the sort that you probably used in school. There's nothing special about this whatsoever. And I happen to have a laser printer. It's a Samsung one. And I have worked out my printer settings so that I get a reasonable image on tracing paper. So for example, I've got an envelope here with a load of images in. This is my trace. Now you can see on here I've got some shadowing. My rollers are probably dirty or something or other. It's not so dark that you can't see through it, but this is still usable. I've made stamps with this. It's not a case of you can't possibly make a stamp with something that isn't perfectly black. Yes, I would like to have a much blacker print. I haven't got it, I can't get it, so I use this. I have in the past used black vinyl, good quality black vinyl cutout. That works really well, but obviously you have to weed a design, and some designs are suitable for weeding and some are not. So I print on this, I buy it in A4 sheets in a block, and I cut it down to A5 to print, simply because I don't print large quantities of designs at any one time. If you want to print off a whole sheet of A4 you can, but I tend not to. And I keep my designs so that I can reuse them if I want to, because I have a friend who might happen to like having some of the stamps that I've got. Hi Alison. Right, this is my system for glass plates. I purchased 2 pieces of scrap glass and got them cut at my local glass merchants. They are 5mm thick. I purchased some magnetic sheet, and simply cut strips and put it either end. These are, I think, about 13.5 centimetres square. And I can't make stamps that are any bigger than about 10 by 10 centimetres, so it doesn't make too much difference. almost 14 centimetres, but it's 5mm thick. It wasn't special glass, it was just some offcuts that the guy had, and he was kind enough to cut it and smooth the edges for me. So, magnetic sheet that you can buy anywhere, and I simply put some washi tape on the sides so that I knew which bits would adhere, because obviously magnetics, polar fields and all the rest of it, all the sciencey stuff, you need to have them run the right way. So that ensures that I have mine in the correct direction. So that's all I use for that. For the base and the top, you can either use this type of stuff, which is simply a plastic document sheet cut up. You can even use cling film underneath, but you do want something that is reasonably firm for the top. These are some of the stamps that I have made. Better get an ink without having thinking about it. Okay. This is just a normal piece of craft foam, which I would tend to use sometimes under my stamp making, not always, but sometimes. Okay, piece of normal paper, and these are just some simple tulip designs that I designed, and I haven't got my stamp block to hand, so I'm just going to use a glass piece of tile. There we go. And my timing on my lamp at the moment, and it's summertime, is about 45 seconds per side. I pressed down a bit too hard on that one. But there we go, you can see you can get fine lines without any difficulty. And this is some purposely, I hasten to add, purposely distressed text that I've done. So I've done that before now. These are more solid images. Now the thing with making your own stamps, if you're making a solid shape like this, it takes less time to make your stamp. Okay, basically the more time that the light shines through, the more solid your image. But if you have a solid design in the first place, I haven't even used this stamp, you've got more solid design in the first place, you want less time on your second developing time, because it's got the opportunity for more light to get through the holes, basically. Okay, there we go, and that is literally the very first time I have stamped that one. So you can see you can get reasonable results. I just got to take the cloth to wipe my stamp off. Let's wipe the other one off as well. And I store mine again on the plastic sheets, and I put them into little CD envelopes, and I have a shoebox and I stash them in there. I have them filed under names, and that makes it a lot easier to find the original file if I need to on my computer, so that I can do cutouts and things like that. Here we are. Here's another one where I've done a fine text, and that is the stamped image, and the only thing I ended up with wrong there is this little piece here, and I can simply, if it's a problem, I can simply cut that little bit of the design away. So yeah, it does some very, very detailed printing. This I designed as a background stamp, so it would be something along the lines of this. And you can see from my fingernail that text is very tiny indeed. So there we go. I don't know if there's much else that I can cover that I haven't already covered. If I haven't covered something and you really need to know, then please look at the rest of my video list on polymer stamp making. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care now. Bye bye.